All right, so why am I even choosing to do the unemployment journal as I am right now? And for me, it comes down to a couple of reasons here. First and foremost is that this is not sexy. That's the easiest way to say it. It's not cool, it's not glamorous. No matter how you kind of really slice it up, being unemployed for a lot of people is one of the most terrifying things that they'll go through. And whether that's you are unemployed voluntarily, so you resigned, you left your job, you were laid off, something that was either unexpected, or maybe your company was going through layoffs, or you're choosing to take that next step, so another voluntary resignation, but with a bit more plan in mind. So overall, it doesn't change the fact that this is not something that you normally would get a lot of conversation around. You hear about the unemployment rate, you hear about, quiet quitting or great resignation, whatever it is. The thing is, you then hear about the success stories that come out of it after the fact. At least that's been what I've seen anecdotally. You can correct me if I'm wrong here. But for the most part, what you'll end up seeing is someone who has a resume they've been using and they use it to apply to like 500 companies. I just saw that one earlier today. Or you'll see someone that's like, hey, I left my job and now I'm traveling the world and I'm making content, or I left my job and now I started my own business and I am, doing contracts and services, doing these speaking events, or just the other version of like, hey, I quit my job or I was laid off and I don't know what to do. I don't know what's next. And I think for a lot of people, that's the part that's not talked about enough, because to me, that seems like the more common occurrence and also the more frightening of any of those versions. And so that's why I'm choosing to make these unemployment journals, is because this isn't a exciting, spot to be in. I have anxiety around what's my next, when's my next paycheck coming in? How am I going to get that? And what am I going to ultimately do? I have a plan. I have a long-term vision of what I want, but what am I going to do in the short term that's going to get me one step closer to that? I don't know yet. I have to figure that out. And so in tomorrow's podcast as well, I recommend you watch that. As I go over like the planning around like what you can do so that way you can buy yourself some peace of mind, so that when this does happen, or if this happens to you, it's not, so overwhelming that you shut down. Instead, it is a phase that you're going to go through in a chapter of your life that you are prepared for and that you can come out from even better than before. Because the way closing behind you is also an indicator of where you're going to the next stop and what your next path forward will be. And so that's why I really want to emphasize that I'm making this whole like journal series, whatever it is, because this isn't cool. Because this isn't the winning story right after the fact. This is instead the journey and the process of what it takes to find the right job, what it takes to find that next step in your career, and what it takes to keep that roof over your head and food on the table. So I also recommend you check out the link in the description, though it does have a job search exercise. So it's a clarification exercise that I personally did to help me on my job searches on LinkedIn, Indeed, whatever job board you're using. I recommend downloading it. Try it out, because it's going to help clarify what you're looking for, because I am very avidly against the spray and pray method where you're applying for so many jobs that you don't even know what you applied to and you don't even remember. And so when you get callbacks, you're like, oh, can you quickly tell me what this job is real quick so that way I at least know? Instead, it's taking a more intentional and systematic approach to it. So do that exercise. I recommend it. So that way, as you're going through your own unemployment journey, your own unemployment journaling, you're able to keep track of what you're doing. You're able to apply with intention and take yourself one step further in the right direction as well. So with that, keep everything simple. Make sure you're following me on Instagram at KES Studios. That's where I'm uploading my reels. I'm also doing the shorts here on YouTube, but I'm also doing the stories on Instagram of just what's going on throughout the day. Because again, it's not glamorous, it's not always cool, but it's the truth. So have an amazing day, you amazing people, and I will see you all in my next video.